Welcome to another episode of the iAgent Advantage, where we delve into everything that's real estate related and relevant for property practitioners. This morning, I'm joined by Chricel Schoeman, who's the financial manager at Meridian Realty, and we will be covering a very important topic: how estate agents / property practitioners should be managing their finances like a pro. Chricel, you deal with hundreds of agents on a regular basis, and you understand the dynamics of being a commission earner, I think, better than most other people. So as a commission earner, it's very important that you manage your tax affairs efficiently. It's my understanding that if more than 50% of your yearly income comes from commission, then you may be benefiting from the possibility of having certain deductions from a tax perspective. So let's start by unpacking what agents can claim on their taxes. Chricel, can you tell us a little bit more about travel and vehicle costs and the deductions that they can make there?
Yes. So, Antonie, as you mentioned, it's very important that 50% of your total income should come from commission.
Okay.
Before all these expenses that you can claim from SARS gets unlocked. So the first one that I want to focus on is travel and vehicle expenses, which all our agents qualify for because, you travel a lot as an agent to your listings, to your clients. One thing that is very important here is a SARS compliant logbook. You cannot claim your kilometers if you don't comply with the SARS logbook.
Okay.
So that's a very important.
Where can they get an example of what
You can get an example of a SARS compliant logbook on the SARS website, and you can just Google it. There are numerous examples of that. The other thing that you can claim is your vehicle expenses, your maintenance, your fuel, your insurance on your vehicle, and your licensing fees. Again, this is only for your business trips.
Okay.
That this will apply.
What about home expenses? I'm thinking, phones, internet, marketing. These are everyday costs that agents incur.
Yeah.
What can they claim there, and what kind of documentation do they need to keep?
So home office expenses, if you work most of your time, 50% and more from your home office, in this case, it's applicable to all our agents once again because they work from home. They automatically qualify for these expenses. So we are looking at your rates and taxes, your electricity, your cleaning, your rent. Everything is proportionalized regarding the space that you're using in your home.
So if your home is, for example, 200 square meters in size and you're utilizing 20 square meters for your office, then 10%.
10% of all that expenses can be claimable for your home office.
Sure.
Very important here to remember, SARS changed one of the rules a few years back. You cannot claim interest on your property bond anymore.
Okay.
On the home expense. So that's something that changed a few years back. Other expenses that we are looking at is your phone expenses, your internet expenses. Estate agents are on the phone and on their computers most of the time.
Yeah.
A good one for me is a 80-20 principle. I think that is a very fair...
80% for business, 20 personal.
Yes, 20 personal. I think that is a very fair percentage allocated to your business expense. Then we are also looking at all your marketing and your entertainment expenses, your lunches with your clients, your coffees, your promotions, your desk fees, your lead generation. Those are all claimable. And then professional fees, if you're looking at your accounting fees, your legal fees, your administration fees, they are all claimable on your tax return as long as it's income generation. It's part of your income generation, then it's claimable.
Okay. Chricel, and of course, documentation is everything when it comes to SARS. So how long should agents keep their reports? And what advice do you have for them to stay organized in order to avoid that last minute rush to get their tax affairs in place before the deadline?
Yeah. Legally, you have to keep your SARS documentation for at least 5 years. And that is very important. And then one thing I can advise is do not claim any expenses that is capital of nature. That will later cause you problems when you try to sell your
Okay, maybe you can just explain to the viewers what's the difference between a capital expense and a other kind of expense.
If you expand your property, let's say for instance you build a home office for you, the physical building costs that adds value to your property, and your property will be later sold for more because of the value that you added. That's not a repairs and maintenance. So be careful when you claim those expenses. Differentiate between what is only a roof repair and capital of nature on your property.
Makes sense.
And then SARS also introduced the solar incentive. You can claim a small tax benefit when you are invested in panels. So just remember that if you went that route. Bottom line is there is a lot of expenses that you claim.
Yeah.
Can claim, very important. It must be directly related to the production of your income. And so that's just no personal expenses will be allowed, especially commission. Be careful. There's very lengthy audits related to these expenses. Now, I'll be the first to say that we do not offer this service yet, although I get a lot of phone calls regarding it. But I always tell our agents, go sit with a tax practitioner or a qualified accountant. It's very difficult from my side to give tax advice if I don't know your full personal your full personal situation. Yeah. What other income you get, stuff like that. So I always say, go sit with the accountant. Tell them your full story. What other income do you receive? What expenses are you incurring in earning your commission? And then another thing is very important. Keep your receipts. Keep track of your expenses. If you've got no invoice or no receipt, you can't expect SARS to accept the claim either. So that's very important. That's why we actually track and capture our expenses on a daily basis, because we know and we understand how stressful it is trying to keep up with these expenses, especially if if a SARS deadline is coming up. So yeah, just try to keep track of these expenses on a daily basis, or just go sit on a monthly basis and get your expenses and your receipts together. Yes.
At Meridian, we use Xero, and I know there's also QuickBooks out there. But for agents that are just starting out and they've got a tight budget, what affordable, even free options would you recommend in terms of accounting software to keep track, as you've just alluded to?
There are tons of tools and new programs out there. There are apps that you can keep track of your expenses on a daily or a monthly basis. So whether you're using Excel, a mobile app, or even notebook, the important thing is to keep track. We use Xero, which I love. For smaller individuals, there are more affordable options, like QuickBooks and so on. At the end of the day, you work hard for your commission, and there's a lot of things to worry about. So the last thing you need to worry about is keeping track of your expenses. So find an easy way that works for you. Sit with your tax practitioner and your accountant so that they can advise you on what's the easiest way to keep track of your expenses.
Now, they kind of, an accountant, I'm just thinking out loud now, they charge by the hour. So probably the better your documentation is in place, the more sorted it is. I'm assuming you could save money.
Yeah. So if an accountant charge by the hour, and they also charge on how many people is involved in your tax return. So if your paperwork is incomplete or it's messy, it's going to take them a lot of time to get that in order. So if you hand your expenses very organized over to your accountant, you're going to save a lot of money on accountant fees, and also you're going to save a lot of money on paying taxes. I think that's the most important part here. Your accounting fees will probably outweigh the amount of money that you save on your tax return.
Now, there's simple things you can do. It's like small disciplines. For example, I use Teams where I just scan my receipts as and when I use them, and then it's all in one folder. It's quite easy to access again. And there's obviously scanning apps and all the rest that's also available. So it's just getting into that kind of, because that's fine. It doesn't need to be the physical receipt. It can be a scanned version thereof or a photograph or whatever it is. So just talking about the Meridian Realty situation, how do they keep track of the income?
So that's where Meridian Realty has got you covered. And we keep track of all our agents' income on the CRM system. So you can just log onto your profile and all your income will be visible on the CRM.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about income beyond just sales commission. So how can agents out there leverage additional income streams? I'm thinking, rentals, bond referrals, or maybe even agent referrals, incentives and things like that.
In Meridian started, we only focused on sales commission. As you know, as the business evolved, we started unlocking new income potential for the agents. We then started with rental commission. We also introduced a very competitive bond referral commission for the agents. And then one of my absolute favorites is referral bonuses for signing up high-performing agents.
So speaking of agent referrals, can you explain to the viewers out there, how does Meridian's referral bonus system work and why is it such a great opportunity for agents out there?
Yes. This is the best part. You don't have to do any of the work. All you have to do is maybe just introduce Meridian to the agent, give the lead through to the office, to yourself or Amanda, and the office will take it further to get the agent on board. And based on the agent's performance, you give an annual bonus, which is quite a lot.
That's recurring and happens every year.
Recurring, it happens every year. And since Meridian has launched this incentive, we've paid out millions in referral commission. That's a real passive income, simply connecting the right people to Meridian. And of course, all your income, once again, is on the CRM system.
It's actually a no-brainer. So tell me a little bit more, at Meridian, just for the viewers out there that don't know, our agents cap. So at a certain point of production in a 12-month period, they get to a point where they keep and retain 100% of their commission. So Chricel, what I'm interested in is to get a little bit more about your experience regarding the cap offer. You deal with it on a daily basis.
Antonie, as you know, this is one of my favorite things about the business model and about Meridian Realty. And I know when you and I sit and we plan regarding the business expenses, you get a bit stressed when one after the other agent starts reaching their cap. And we're giving away 100% commission because, we do have a business to look after, and we are literally giving away 100% commission. But from where I am sitting, it's one of the most rewarding things to see.
It is.
Because when an agent hit cap, it means the model is working and the agent is actually winning, and we get to celebrate that victory with them. And here's something what I've noticed about reaching your cap over the year. Something just clicks.
Absolutely, yeah.
That drive kicks in and you start asking yourself, how can I do this next year? How can I work smarter and not harder? You begin to learn what your clients respond to, understand your area and your competition, and know exactly how to stand out in your market. But above all, and I cannot stress this enough, you learn to know your actual worth. Sure, your competitor might ask 1% less commission, but what do you bring to the table for that extra percent? Do your homework, be confident, present your value, and that is what clients buy into. At the end of the day, it's not just a business model, it's a platform to help you build your own success. And we're happy to support you every step of the way.
So on these capping agents, you deal with them, like I said, on a very regular basis. What tips do you have for them to not slow down once they've reached that magical 100% mark?
Antonie, unfortunately, this is the honest truth, and I've seen this happen before. When an agent reaches cap and starts earning 100% commission, there's a natural tendency to want to sit back, relax, and enjoy it. And listen, please don't get me wrong. You deserve it. You deserve the rest. We all do. Hitting cap is a huge achievement. And you should absolutely celebrate it. But here's the catch. 100% commission does not last forever. It's not permanent. So if you stop working, the pipeline dries up and automatically no deals, no commission. As simple as that. So yes, rest, recharge, but don't check out completely.
Keep building that pipeline. Some of our top agents, as you know, normally hit cap within the first month or two of their cycle. It's because that pipeline is always being fed.
Yeah, because if you want to hit your cap again next year, you've got to keep on working on your pipeline, on your client relationships, on your follow-ups, on your marketing, on your networking. You have to stay in the mindset of what's next. Where do my next referral come from? Where do my next listing come from? Where do my next deal come from? Success in real estate isn't a finish line. It's a cycle. The top agents aren't lucky. They are consistent.
Very true.
So if you want to hit your cap, if you hit your cap, congratulations. Now let's plan on how we're going to do it again next year and maybe even sooner.
Absolutely. One of the unique things about our model is the freedom that it affords agents to negotiate their own commission, because we don't have a set minimum commission that our agents need to work from. That said, many of the agents earn very good commissions. So what advice do you have for agents on negotiating confidently and showing their clients the value that they bring?
Yeah. Well, there is no legal fixed commission rate in South Africa. Commission is negotiable, and it's typically agreed on between the agent and the seller in the mandate, when the mandate is signed. And Antonie, once again, we absolutely pride ourselves on this at Meridian. You can negotiate your own commission, and that's a big deal. Unlike many other traditional agencies that locks agents into a fixed commission in an area, Meridian empower our agents to run a business like a business.
Very true.
You have the freedom to negotiate your own commission based on your property, your client, your area, and most importantly, the value that you bring to the table. Whether you're offering a full service or creating that competitive edge in a tough market, you decide what works for you and your client. It's part of our commitment to supporting entrepreneurial agents because you know your worth, and we back you on that. That said, the industry norm is currently, we had a conversation about this, the industry norm is currently between 4 and 7.5% plus VAT. That's not set in stone. Depending on your location, your agency, your client, you might see commission go a bit lower on high-end properties, and then again higher on more complex deals or a rental. And it's very important to remember that commission must be agreed upon in writing in the mandate. You cannot earn commission in South Africa without a valid FFC from the PPRA. And once again, a pain point for everyone, you're not allowed to receive commission without FICA being in place. And that is very important in our industry. And here's why knowing this actually matters. You need to be able to justify to your seller what you're bringing to the table for that 4 or 7.5%. It gives you negotiation power, especially when competing with other agencies which offer discounted rates or on online platforms. And it protects you legally. If your commission agreement isn't clear, there is a chance that you might lose your commission totally. So before you take on a new listing, make sure your commission is clear. Make sure you have it in writing. That's very important. to know your worth, because a skilled agent isn't just selling a property.
And communicate what you bring
Yeah.
to the table to your seller.
They're absolutely adding value to the deal.
You know, Priscilla, I've seen many times in the industry, in practice, especially when you're new to the industry, agents often, they don't talk about commission up front.
Yeah.
They kind of just wing it.
Yeah.
And then an offer comes to the table, and then starts the negotiation process. I always believe it's very important to establish the value that you bring to the table up front, and to agree on how you will be paid for the service that you will be providing, and to take things from there. It just sets the tone for the rest of the relationship.
Yeah, absolutely.
Budgeting is very, very tough for estate agents, because they are commission earners, and their income fluctuates on a month-to-month basis. So I'm very interested to know, what are your top strategies for agents to manage fixed and variable expenses, given that they don't earn a fixed salary every month?
This is always a tough one. Because some of the agents do this full-time and they solely rely on commission. Others have a full-time job and they do real estate on the side. And then other people have additional income like rental income, or they have another partner contributing to the household. So it really depends. But one thing I can say is consistency is key. You already know what your monthly fixed expenses are. For instance, your car, your bond payment, your rent, your school fees, your medical aid. And you also know your variable expenses, planning for your fuel, your food, your electricity, all that stuff. So stay grounded when you plan your budget, no matter what kind of month you're having. And please, this is a big one, don't overspend when you've hit the jackpot on a deal. Yes, it's amazing when those big commissions come over your table, and we're celebrating with you, but don't plan your lifestyle according to 1 or 2 deals. Be realistic. You know what you are able to bring in a year. You know your area, you know your clients, you know the value of the properties that you sell in your area. So plan according to that. But I know it's the big one is always a bonus. And I know it's tempting. Don't increase your lifestyle based on 1 or 2 big deals. Just always try to keep it realistic. And let's stop living deal to deal. Let's create some wow. Some key statistics in South Africa, which are very concerning, is that people don't plan for retirement. I think that's a big concern. Only 36% of South Africans contribute to any form of saving or retirement annuity or long-term investments.
Sure.
Only 7% think they can retire comfortably, living the same lifestyle that they did before retirement. And an actual 6% only come out with their commission on a month, on their pension on a monthly basis, which is very concerning. And 49% of South Africans does not have a plan when they retire. They've got nothing. No savings account, no retirement annuity, no pension fund.
Sure. So these stats that you are mentioning is quite concerning, actually.
Yeah.
So what steps should agents take now to set themselves up for retirement?
I think one of the basic things that South Africa offers, which is a no-brainer, is the tax-free savings account. That you can invest 36,000 rand per year and up to 500,000 rand in a lifetime into these accounts. You pay no tax on the interest, the dividends, or the growth on those accounts. And even when you withdraw, you don't pay any tax when you withdraw out of that account.
Where do you set up such an account?
There's a lot of options.
Okay.
All the banks offer them. Then also your where you have your retirement annuity. There's a lot of financial institutions which offer this, the tax-free savings account. Yeah. This is a great option for long-term savings. If you think about big things that might come, early retirement, children going to university, helping your children buying their first property, So there's a lot of things, and it keeps on growing tax-free. One thing you have to remember, don't touch the money. Leave it in the account when you absolutely need it. Once you've withdrawn it, you can't put it back. When you reach the limit, you've reached it. So you can't put more in than the SARS requirements.
You also mentioned to me yesterday when we were having a chat about this upcoming podcast that it's a good idea to also open these accounts for your children if you have for their future.
And as I also mentioned, don't let your children know about these accounts. Just try to save for them in the tax-free savings account. That will really help them set up for life when they actually need it. Another saving option in South Africa, we also get great tax benefits, is a retirement annuity. You can contribute up to 27.5% of your taxable income, capped at 350,000 Rand per year. So
is the 350 cap your income cap or the actual contribution?
Your actual contribution. Yeah. That means if you are earning 500,000 Rand, for instance, and you contribute 100,000 Rand towards a retirement annuity, your taxable income will lower to 400,000 pounds. So yeah, you will actually get that back. Investment growth in your retirement annuity is also tax-free until retirement.
Okay.
Once you start withdrawing out of your retirement annuity fund, you will pay tax on your withdrawal.
Okay.
And this is a great tax benefit. You get a lot of tax back yearly, which is directly calculated to your contribution on a yearly basis. If you want to achieve maximum benefits on your tax, on your retirement annuity, it's very important to try to reinvest that tax refund. If you can reinvest it in your tax-free savings account, that will be ideal. Then you just benefit on both sides. Then your retirement annuity keeps on growing, and your tax-free savings account keeps on growing. So that's very important.
Okay. Chricel, before we wrap it up, could you give one piece of financial advice to every real estate agent listening today?
A motto I try to live by is save first, spend later. First, look after your savings. Plan for your rainy day fund. Plan for your unforeseen expenses, medical expenses that you don't know that's coming. And plan for your next quiet month. You never know what's going to happen in the market. Because someday when it comes, you'll thank yourself for making that provisions. So yeah, that's it
Chricel,
on my side.
thank you so much. This has been incredibly informative, and I think that the viewers out there will get a lot of benefit from it. To our listeners, remember you work hard for your permission, so make your money work just as hard for you. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to this podcast so that you can get notifications of new series or new podcasts coming up. Thank you very much.
Thank you.